Hello, everybody. Oh, yeah, holding the microphone. Had a problem with the lavalier, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure the NSA tried to stop our lavalier wireless microphone. So we had to go wired handheld. I'm a nightclub comic. I can hold this in my sleep. Well, this is interesting. Judge in Jeffrey Epstein grand jury case has ties to those with a stake in the outcome. Well, this is from the Miami Herald. Has been doing great work down there, uncovering the Epstein thing. This came out June 6th. Because it's been 11 months now. Next month will be a year that Epstein got arrested and jailed and then hung himself with a paper t-shirt. No big name people have been prosecuted. There's been 2 people charged. The guards at the prison. Weird. You cannot have a global multi-billion-dollar sex trafficking pedophile ring without a bunch of power. It's run by powerful people, so of course, right? The Netflix doc, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's already got whitewashed stuff in there. I'm glad they let the victims speak. I'm glad they gave them a voice. That's great. I'm going to finally watch that and talk about it, but I heard Les Wexner had no idea. Right. He's the head of the snake. Krista Marks, the Palm Beach chief judge who also heads a panel that policies judicial conduct, has potential conflicts of interest involving 3 prominent players embroiled in the Epstein sex trafficking. It ain't potential. Anything involved in this, if it looks suspicious, it is. It has to be. It has to be. Powerful people are leaning on judges like this. Maybe she's been in on it. Maybe she's whatever. But this is the ruling class covering up their horrific pedophile sex trafficking ring. Epstein was like middle management, according to people like Maria Farmer. State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg, who has been sued by the Palm Beach Post to release grand jury records. Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, whose department's favored treatment of Epstein while he was in the Palm Beach County Jail, is part of the ongoing state criminal investigation. Now, part of the investigation is from over 10 years ago, when Epstein was arrested in West Palm Beach for having sex with a minor. That's called rape. And got that sweetheart deal. So it wasn't just Acosta who gave him the sweetheart deal, who was then later appointed by Trump. William Barr was involved. Palm Beach. All these people knew about it and just gave him a slap on the wrist. Literally let him leave for 13 hours every day. Sometimes he went on his plane. Flight logs indicate he went on his plane. They knew this. Ex-state attorney Barry Kreischer part of the same investigation in connection with his decision not to prosecute Epstein on child sex charges. You can't run a sex trafficking ring out of a city like Palm Beach. That's the thing Virginia Roberts Giuffre said. She said in numerous interviews. She said it in her deposition. Everyone knew about it. That's why it's called hidden in plain sight. Doctors, judges, cops, pilots, everybody, chauffeurs, they all knew it. They all saw it happening. Special prosecutors appointed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis went to court in January to unseal records of Kushner's secret 2006 state grand jury presentment in the case. Prosecutors wanted to examine whether Kushner's office told the panel the full scope of Epstein's crimes or whether state prosecutors kept key evidence from the grand jury. Yes. Yes, they did. These people are guilty. How come Prince Andrew hasn't been arrested? How come Ghislaine Maxwell hasn't been arrested? You know, her father was in Mossad. That Ghislaine Maxwell? Why don't we just arrest all of the Rothschilds? Just to arrest them and most of the members of the British royal family. Let's just start there. And then Les Wexner and Alan Dershowitz, Clinton, Trump, both Clintons, Trump. Let's just arrest all of them. When we just rounded up literally, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet, and there's about 2,000 to 3,000 billionaires that are ruining the whole planet for everybody else. The grand jury returned a minor charge of solicitation of prostitution against Epstein, who later managed to negotiate a lenient plea deal. Solicitation of prostitution with a teenager, that's a child. That's why Epstein just brazenly did it, because he knew, I've got leverage on all of these powerful people, so they're going to make sure I walk. When he became too much of a problem, they had him killed. I told you this on this show. Go to the Epstein playlist. Last July, when he was arrested, I said if they deny his bail, I go, one of two things is going to happen. He's going to be given bail, and he's going to escape, and we're never going to see him again. Right? Like Ghislaine Maxwell, we haven't seen her. She's in hiding. If they deny his bail, they're going to kill him in prison because he's now become a liability, and that's what happened. But Marks in January rejected the criminal prosecutor's effort to unseal the grand jury records, calling it a fishing expedition. See this? She has ties to all these criminal people. Krista Marks. Ties to all these people. So this goes back to 2006, just in Palm Beach, covering it up. But she rejected the criminal effort to unseal the grand jury records, calling it a fishing expedition. All these judges just go against they control the courts. They control both political parties. They control the media. I mean, we've shown you just time and time again. Maria Farmer talked about the FBI, the head of the FBI in 1996 when she came forward was worse than Les Wexner. Judge denies release of Epstein-related docs not subject to presumption of public access. This was in January of this year. A different judge. In an 11-page ruling, U.S. District Judge Loretta A. Presco, who in August ordered the release of the 2,000 previously sealed documents, found the remaining tranche of documents were not judicial in nature. See these little half measures? So she revealed the 2,000-page documents. That got released, I believe, on August 8th. I forget the date, but it was like on a Friday. That Saturday, Epstein died in prison. We know he was murdered. So all of these judges in all of these different courts in all these different places in America always can't, right when it comes to like cross the finish line on put all the documents in public record, get everybody to see it, they always say, oh, no, can't, oh, it's a fishing expedition. They're not judicial in nature. See this? This is consistent, though. Kamala Harris, when she was district attorney in San Francisco, there was a pedophile priest case that came out in San Francisco, the San Francisco Archdiocese. She wouldn't reveal the names of the priests, and her office said it would be damaging to the victims, but the head of a victims organization said that was complete bullshit. It's the same. Why am I bringing up San Francisco? It had nothing to do with Epstein. No. To my knowledge and to investigators' knowledge, no, it didn't. But you see, it's the same pattern. Pedophiles in positions of power always get protected. If it's just like one guy who did creepy stuff to kids or whatever, that guy always gets arrested and goes to jail. But when they're connected to the powerful, boy, we can't, oh, whoops, it's not a fishing expedition, it's a, I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to keep talking about this because the Epstein stuff is related to how our whole system is broken. The same judicial system that lets a young black man go to jail 3 times more likely for marijuana possession, 3 times more likely to get arrested, where unarmed black men can just be killed by the police and none of the police are even prosecuted, let alone sentenced. Most of them don't even, there's a 99%, they don't even get prosecuted. 99% of them don't even get charged. And when they do, they always get acquitted. That's the same judicial system. I just want to show you this. Because if you're like, well, Graham, police brutality and Epstein, they're not that, they're kind of 2 separate things. No, they're not. This is the ruling class. So these are people who rape and sell children, of course they don't care about putting their, killing black people. Just, that's what they think of most humans. Unless you're one of them in their filthy elite ruling class, they think that you're garbage. The way Epstein victims, survivors like Maria Farmer and Virginia Roberts Giuffre talk about how Ghislaine Maxwell and them just treated them like trash, like less than, like garbage, that's the same way people talk about how the police treat them, especially in the black and brown communities. When we had Fiorella on the show from Convo Couch talking about how LAPD shot rubber bullets at her, at Johnny, and other protesters. They followed the cops' implicit orders, and they did that and got kettled. And then when they got arrested, the cops just treated them like crap. That's the ruling class. This is how they operate. Everything's rigged. If we want to talk about systemic racism in our judicial system and in our country, as well we should, there is, we need to talk about the systemic class system, the systemic oppression of anyone that dares speak up. People like Sharina Shim, journalist that was killed because she uncovered that the United States was funneling ISIS members through bases we have in Turkey into Iraq. George Webb, Chelsea Manning, Julian Assange. That's how they treat journalists. So some guy like George Webb, we don't care who he is. We'll put our knee on his neck. Look for the patterns. Look at how they cover stuff up. Look at just the little, we got him. They still want to they just want this Epstein thing to go away. Oh, it's just a fishing expedition. Look, we got him. He convicted. He killed himself. Okay, it's done. They want it to go away because all these powerful people are involved. They make that bullshit thing on Netflix, which is whitewash. Give the victims a voice. So we say, yay, we gave the victims a voice, which I'm glad that they did, but then they don't go after. I had no faith about that document. I haven't even seen it, but just from what I've heard, people, the journalists and stuff that have covered the Epstein thing, that what I've heard, it's nonsense. They always do half the story. Maria Farmer said that. She would do interviews and they would put out half of her story. Part of it. Leave this part out. Leave that part out. That ABC journalist who interviewed Virginia Roberts Giuffre 3 years ago, she's like, we had everything. And then, the execs at ABC, which is owned by Disney, said, we don't want to lose access to the royal family, so don't bring up all the Prince Andrew, so we're going to scuttle this. See how it's the same tactic. It's the same tactic. It's the same tactic. It's the same thing like, just that man that was killed in Atlanta. He fell asleep in his car. He resisted arrest. No, you shot him in the back. You see how the ruling class just always tries to paint it, and the media is their propaganda arm that sells us the story. Right? They won't show us the whole story. No, George Floyd had a criminal past, right? That bullshit. Really? That cop? Chauvin? Should have been kicked off the force years ago, but that's right, Amy Klobuchar let him slide. And she's going to step down as VP. Yeah, because you'll get crucified. See just how they should always give you half the part, sort of, the story? It's the same tactic, man. It's the same. Look for the same tactics. Look for patterns. Follow the money. Connect the dots. That's why you get your news here and not the liars on corporate media. Boom. Hey, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.